Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all viewers. I, Dr. Renu Tomar, welcome you again to the second part of the series of lecture on Instilling Instructional Leadership. Friends, we have been discussing various theories of educational leadership. We have also discussed that what are the constraints in the private school as well as in the public school as in India, which stops the leaders, the educational leaders, to enact in a manner in which they are supposed to enact. Friends, continuing the series, let us go back to the point where I left. Why the countries like UK, USA, Australia, China and Singapore are looked whenever we talk about better educational leadership? Why do we say that they have better school education than ours? Why the UK, USA, Australia, they believe in providing theories of management, they believe in doing research in the field of educational leadership? The reason for this is, the very simple reason for this is that it has been seen that in the last few decades, the theories of management, the corporate training, the practices which have given the kind of understanding to those Western people, they have utilized that in administrative and educational leadership, and it has been found that the theories of management which were started in the corporate, they have also yielded very positive result in educational administration and in educational leadership also. For example, whenever we talk about corporate sector, then we talk about efficiency, we talk about measurable outcome, we talk about target achievement. These are the conventional vocabulary of the corporate. Are these vocabulary applicable in school organization? Definitely yes. How? Whenever we talk about target achievement here would mean the academic and the co-curricular performance of each student. Whenever we talk about measurable outcome, then naturally it would be a kind of a way to assess achievement levels of learners, teachers and institutions. So that means that we should be discussing about assessment of school organization also on the basis of their performance. So friends, here to quote what NEP 2020 has given, NEP 2020 has talked about introducing a government body which shall be responsible for rating the school organization, and because they would be rating the school organization, thereby the schools will be not only just motivated to improve their ranking, but also it would be a kind of direction. It will also help the parents to assess that which school is better, and also community will also understand that what they should be doing as to improve the school in their locality, as to make it better or improve in their working. So friends, whenever we talk about outcome of efficiency, there is usually a criticism on the fact that the outcome and efficiency driven perspective is not applicable in the school. Reason being, whenever we say school, we usually say that the schools are there to run a system. The education is an aspect which cannot be monitored, because it is very virtue, it's a kind of a virtue. Whenever we talk about teachers also, whenever we talk about principals also, we say that the kind of a work they are doing, that is to be honored, and because it is very religious kind of an activity which is being performed by them, so it will not be appropriate for us to measure them. But friends, if that is so, then why are we paying them? If we are paying them, then that means their work is as much measurable as the work of the people who are working in the corporate. Their efficiency also need to be measured. Then now the question is, it is being measured. It is not so that it is not being measured. That now the question is whether the parameter on which the efficiency of the school is being measured, is that appropriate? Does it really encompass the complete change management theories, interventions, or the improvement dimensions? Friends, it usually encompasses the measurement encompass only and only the performance of the students. Teachers or the principal or the school is measured of its efficiency on the basis of the performance of the students in academic as well as curriculum. Friend, this can be one dimension, but it cannot be the sole dimension of judging the quality of the school. So that means if we try to understand that which are the dimensions which make a school better than the other, then we will have to understand that what leadership are and how those leadership can be improved, how leaders in educational institutions are expected to work, what kind of challenges do they have, how they can improve upon despite the challenges which have been introduced, how they can support the development of the teachers, what kind of training they themselves should take up as to enable professional growth in their own working, as well as enabling professional practices in their school functioning, in their classroom, and of course introducing the team leadership and curriculum development. These are generally the expected aspects of the school leader. That is from the Western point of view. That is, they should be able to provide certain professional practices. They should be able to support curriculum development. They should act as team leader. They are accountable and they should know how to supervise. So these are the most commonly articulated expectations, which are also termed as change agent, because they can facilitate change in the organization, which can manage the shift of the school from poor to better, and better to good, and good to great, and great to excellent. So change facilitation is most important aspect whenever we talk about leadership. Friends, whenever we talk about leadership, the leadership can be transformational leader, it can be shared leadership, it can be pedagogical leadership, and it can be distributed leadership. These are the various terms which are being used in the leadership. But whenever we talk about providing training, the leadership training to our principal, then all these kinds of leadership have to be taught to them. Pedagogical leadership is must. If the principal doesn't understand the pedagogical element of the subject he or she is expert in, then naturally one cannot motivate the other teachers who are also expert in their own subjects. What does transformational leadership means? Transformational leadership means that the person has to be able to transform the environment of the school from passive to dynamic, able to transform the attitude of the teachers in becoming positive and sharing. Another leadership which we have talked about is shared leadership. Shared leadership is nothing but it's a kind of a participating leadership, and it is very important, particularly in a school organization, because in the school all the human resources whom we are referring to, that is the teachers, the community, the students, all of them are resources. They should act as a resources for the principal in such a manner that each resource thinks of oneself as a change giver or change bringer, because academic organization is basically ruled by the agenda of knowledge transmission, skill transmission, personality development, and all these things cannot be forced upon neither on the students nor can teachers be driven in such a manner that they have to be change agent, not because they want it but because they have to do it. So, this kind of attitude cannot work in any academic organization. This is something all of us have to understand. All of us means the school leaders, the academicians, the educationists, all of us should understand that the school heads cannot become dictators. If they are dictators, then the kind of a learning environment which is going to be instilled in the school will be negative, and the learning outcome also will be not so positive as they can be expected to be. When we talk about leader, the effect of the leader is indirect. Friends, this is something which we have discussed in our last lecture also, that when we see a school, we can, or when we discuss a school, we discuss from the perspective of the students' result in their academic performance as well as co-curricular performance, as well as we talk about the infrastructure the school has, but we are never able to directly see the effect of the leader. We will see the effect of the leader after passing of certain time period, at least 3 to 4 years. When 3 to 4 years have passed, only then we can say that how effective the school leader was, because generally it takes 3 to 4 years, as the researchers have proven, for a school organization to become good from the poor. So, the influence cannot be understood initially, it can be understood after certain time has passed, and it cannot be viewed or visible as far as effect of the leader is concerned directly, because the principal or the leader is working as a director in some movie or in certain play, whose impact is seen on the screen, but who himself is absent. So, this is how the school principals are. They are like directors of certain movie or some play. Their impact is viewable by all the people who are seeing it, but it cannot be seen directly. So, friends, this is something which we need to understand, that the leaders achieve results through other. This is the essence of leadership. Just as directors achieve their result, may it be on the screen, the movie screen, or may it be in the theatre, they achieve their result through other actors, and this is the essence of directorship or leadership in the case of our school. Friends, the other constraints which we need to discuss whenever we talk about our government school, which has resulted in the lack of leadership amongst our school principal, is the culture of Inspector Raj. Generally, it is seen that the inspections are so routine and the kind of expectations which is expected from the inspectors, that usually curbs the desire as well as the motivation amongst the principal to become dynamic or change oriented. Another important aspect is that the principals do have absence of institutional vision, and they prefer to teach whatever has been tested rather than going for a change, because they are afraid for the becoming a change agent or introducing change in their school. So, these are two reasons which usually doesn't let the school system become a transformation place, or the school leader become the transformational leader. Now, let us try to understand from the world at large where the school transformation has occurred, why it has occurred and how it has occurred. So, we have to take example from the world as to understand that how the schools have improved. Generally, it is seen that whenever we talk about poor to good school, in those schools, the target of the school leader is to improve literacy and numeracy, and that usually take 2 to 4 years to become become a good performing school from the poor performing school, the target of the principal in that case should be to improve literacy and numeracy of the students, because the main role of the principal in such school is to narrow down the achievement gap between students from different socio-economic grounds. So, this is one of a big challenge, because in every school we have at least 5 to 10% students who are better as far as literacy and numeracy ability is concerned. So, it is a challenge for the school leader that they have to narrow that achievement gap and bring the students who are from the poor socio-economic background, they are to be improved in such a manner that they also become achievement oriented and their literacy and numeracy improves. Second kind of schools which are good and they have to be taken to the grade. In these kind of schools, what are the problems? The problems would be in the pattern of the school. Has to improve from good to great. It has to be understood that what kind of pattern, the socio-economic pattern which exists in the school, and those patterns are to be understood irrespective of culture, geography, politics or history. The interventions have to be designed accordingly, and those interventions have to be clustered together in such a manner that it makes system move from fair performance to good performance and from good to great performance. Because the third cluster, which is good performance to the great, in that what is required is that we should introduce academic betterment. We shall be able to introduce the curriculum betterment, because poor to fair journey usually focus on literacy and numeracy in places. But what about the journey from good to excellent? That will be a different journey, because what is required in journey from poor to fair would be providing day-to-day support, motivation to low-skill teachers, and the elements would be highly scripted and standardized lesson plans and regular coaching. These are the elements which are involved in making the school from poor to fair. So, whenever we talk about the school being improved from fair to good, we need to decide the data. Accordingly, data has to be gathered, assessment tools have to be improved, and teaching learning resources are to be added. Only then we can say that the school will become fair to good and good to great. Another important aspect which is generally a problem, particularly the school which is to be transformed from poor to good, is that the school has problem in improving access and enrollment. It is a big issue. How this issue is to be looked at? For that, of course, as a school principal, one will have to take help of the community. The community will to be involved, and accordingly teachers will also have to be motivated so that the students come to the school to learn something, and because teaching is interested in and teaching being interesting will become a kind of a motivator for the students to come to the school, and thereby the students would be able to improve. Generally, whenever we talk to our students, we would say that you should study. They would say why? So that you can become a doctor, you can become a lawyer, you can become a sportsman. Now the question is that a 4-year-old child or 5-year-old child wouldn't understand that what being a doctor is, what being a lawyer is, because that is not something which he can envision. So that means the kind of a vision which we are creating for the child itself is also so hazy and so not clear that the student will never be motivated to come to the school. So we have to fix the target for the children in such a manner that they are motivated to come to the school. They can be motivated in a way that if they come to the school, then they will understand the basic counting, and if they understand basic counting, they will be able to improve their game, or they would be able to read things and feel proud, and they would be able to read certain stories. So, these are the things which can be cited and which can be taken as an agenda for particularly for the children who are to be moved from journey of being poor to fair or fair to good. So, these are the aspects which a school leader should keep in mind whenever we talk about the interventions and taking support from the various stakeholders so that the school performance can be improved. Another important aspect which we have discussed before also, but we need to repeat it again, is that the school system has to be very transparent. Only then we can expect the community to provide support to it and to provide the positive incentives to it. So, transparency should be there, the incentives to the children and the teachers should be there, and the support has to be brought from the community so that the teachers are motivated and the students are also motivated, and the performance of the students then become the motivator of the community to send their children to those schools. Another important aspect which has to be there in a school principal is that the teacher are to be supported. How teachers are to be supported? They can be supported through standardized pedagogical toolkits. That has to be created by the school leader. For that, of course, they can take the help from the various training organizations, or they can send their own teachers for certain training and coaching, or they themselves can become the resource person for the particular subject in which they are experts. Friends, we have discussed that how the headmasters are to be developed to become leaders so that they understand what their role is as far as the managing student outcome is concerned, managing field and forum based training, coaching and gradual movement from instructional leader or coaching of teachers. Now, the most important aspect is that principal should also understand the situation or the environment in which the school is functioning. How can principal understand that? Of course, the principal needs to read a lot, get oneself trained again and again. Only then we can expect that the principal himself, being a learner, learning about the interventions which can be introduced, only then we can expect that that principal is a learner and would also motivate one's own teachers to be learner and thereby create a dynamic environment in one's school. So, this is the transformational design which the principal will have to accommodate in keeping in view the scenario of the situation in which the school is functioning. Who decide the scenario of the situation in which school is functioning? That is decided by the state, city where the school is running. Rural school have the different kind of problem, urban school have the different kind of problem, public or the government school have the different kind of problem, and the private schools have the different kind of problem. That means that as a leader, the principal should be understanding the contextual problems as well as understanding that how the transformation is to be introduced, keeping in view the variables which he or she has to deal with. Whenever we talk about principal becoming an instructional leader, that means the principal would be assisting teachers in setting goals, organizing a workable schedule, observing instructions, demonstrating effective lessons and providing constructive feedback. So, principal himself or herself shall serve as a resource for effective instructional strategies and intervention. This is one of an important aspect for becoming instructional leader. Then the principal should have clearly defined responsibilities and scheduled time for accomplishing those duties. And the time of the principal should not be wasted, should not be consumed in clerical, fundraising or substitute teaching or tutorial responsibility which are completely unrelated to the improvement of the academic performance of the students. They, as an assessment expert, the principal must have understanding of the screening, diagnostic, progress monitoring and outcome assessment. Principal shall also be responsible for guiding the teachers as far as proper implementation of this assessment is concerned, and review the data from in each grade and accordingly discuss the issues of each students in the classroom with all the stakeholders, that is the students, the parents and the teachers, so that the grade level issues can be analyzed and accordingly the strategies can be developed to improve upon those grade level issues, because the school needs to make adjustment to ensure goal achievement, and school has to use the assessment data to plan and necessarily result in professional development of the teachers and academic and co-curricular development of the student. Principal also need to work as a professional development provider. For becoming a professional development provider, the principal should be well equipped with all the strategies, the knowledge which are required for teachers to become the better professional, and this is something which is required to become a professional leader. If we take example of D. Lima, instructional leadership is nothing but an ability to involve colleagues collaboratively in mutual learning and development with the main purpose of improving teaching and learning. So friends, from our discussion today we have tried to understand what instructional leadership is and how it can be instilled, what are the core components which are required to instill instructional leadership and to improve the instructional leadership amongst the principal. On this note, I will take your leave and see you again very soon with some new topic. Friends, good afternoon, have a good day. Namaskar.